it's Floz from Couple of Dabblers. Today I am doing a stitch with me. This is me doing the big stitch. It's called the Countryside. If you've seen my, I guess, most popular video on the channel, the Lowry stand, I briefly talked about this project, saying how humongous to me it is, and I was a bit bummed that I didn't notice the size of this project, and now I guess I have to stitch for a long time, well, for years, judging by how slow I am progressing on this. Since I need to stitch more, and I feel like I should make a video talking a little bit about what's been happening with us, and also I guess some stitching facts about me, so you get to know me more in terms of cross stitch. So let's start. Let me just find the first stitch. Okay, I think I found it. So I'm just gonna start this strand with loop method. Okay. Okay, so that's first stitch. Okay, so how I stitch is I take a picture of a section of the chart. Generally it's one page, and then I use iPad, and I also use an app on the iPad called Good Reader. So then I load the picture in and then just mark off that way. So that's how I stitch. One of the reasons why I don't use paper charts is I don't know, it's very unlikely that I'm going to use the paper charts for the second time, but I just don't want to see it being very messy, very anal. That's why I'd rather make it messy digitally, so at least I don't have to look at the mess. Okay, so let's talk about what's been happening with us, because last weekend was the first week that we didn't put up anything on our channel. We normally do at least one video a week, but these few weeks have been pretty crappy and busy for us. So JP was very busy at work. Yeah, JP?
Very busy. Too busy.
So he was leaving early and coming home really late. It's kind of like he thought there's X things to do, and then at the end of the day it became like X plus Y plus Z. So things are not according to plan. And then for me, work has been pretty busy. For the past week, I was getting home a bit later than normal. So I work night shift. Normally my shift finishes 10 p.m, but because of like the workload and road works, I've been getting home at 11, or sometimes slightly past 11. So then that means we had to catch up on hanging out with each other on the weekend, and last week I think both of us were a bit over it, so we just didn't make any videos, which is fine. You don't want to force yourself doing a video of something you don't want to do. And also, recently I purchased an investment property, and there weren't problems, but the loan just wasn't approved for a while, and then I got really upset because they just kept wanting more documents. I think it's the pandemic. They really want to make sure financially everything's all good. So they asked more documents like multiple times, and then every time after I gave them the documents, there would be waiting time for them to check the documents, make sure everything's all good, and then give another feedback saying, oh, they need more things. So then, you know, normally you have 2 weeks for the loan to get approved, but this time it took bit more than 4 weeks, so like a month. And I was quite concerned, quite worried, but there was nothing I could do except, you know, just providing the documents they need and waiting. And because of stress, I ended up having lots of ulcers. So that's one of the reasons why I didn't feel like making anything last week, because I was mentally exhausted. But this weekend's been okay. Yeah, JP?
It's very relaxing.
Yeah, today we actually ended up getting a lot of things done, and this weekend's really busy. It's a long weekend in Victoria, because we have our Labor Day. I get it off, but JP doesn't. So technically I have 3 days off this weekend, which is great.
So lucky.
So this weekend's plan is we have a little Dungeons and Dragons group. We haven't been, so we were planning to do it regularly, but because of pandemic, different lockdowns, pretty much we planned and then we had to cancel the plan. So finally we have decided that tomorrow we're gonna meet up and do our 3rd session, and that's gonna take pretty much whole day. So today we had to get a lot of things done in preparation of that. Generally when the other 2 guys come, we are the one that prepare food. So we've decided to make mushroom pasta. And generally Saturday is our shopping day. So we went grocery shopping. And we went a bit crazy. So we spent a lot of money, but that's okay. And then I want to bake as well. I want to bake, well, I call it pineapple bread. I don't know what the actual name is called in English. It's pretty much like a bread. You could have stuffings in it, or you could choose not to, but it looks like a pineapple. So you have the bread, and then you have like an outer layer on the surface, which is a bit sweeter. And then it has the pineapple patterns on the top. It's actually pretty hard talking and trying to stitch at the same time.
Not as easy as the other YouTubers make it look.
No, because I might get really distracted and make a mistake. I don't know. Generally, you'll only know a bit later.
You'll have to swear off camera.
Yeah, swear off camera. Or like, just edit it out. Don't know, I feel kind of exposed doing Stitch with me because you're pretty much showing how you stitch, and if you're a really crappy stitcher, it really shows.
The stitching community is very judgmental, isn't it? You're going to get roasted.
Yeah, we're roasting potatoes.
We are roasting potatoes right now.
So I might be you know, going in the oven soon.
I've got an alarm on, and it might beep, but it shouldn't be for at least 45 minutes.
Oh, that's good. Okay, so let's talk a bit about my stitching history then. I briefly mentioned in, I think, my second video, where I showed you my small cross stitch collection. It hasn't changed much since then. I'm really trying to control what I buy, and I think it's been working. So I started last year May when Australia was having like really bad, I guess,
Lockdowns.
yeah, really bad lockdowns, especially Victoria. We went through a couple of them. It didn't bother me as much as it bothered other people, because I overall don't mind staying at home or don't mind socializing, but still, I think even though it doesn't affect me much, being told not to do a lot of things would still consume some mental energy. So I guess to distract me from dealing with that, I was thinking, what to do to occupy the time. So then I picked up baking for some weird reason. I don't even remember how. Oh, no, I remember now. It's because people were anticipating maybe it would be a bit harder to get bread or get bread, and then
Everything.
yeah. And then I just had the idea that baking yourself is much easier. So then you wouldn't have to rely on bakeries. So then I started baking. And then one day I was joking with JP that maybe I should start, some crafting hobbies. And then I was talking about cross stitching. So then he was very supportive. He was like, "Oh, why don't you try then?" And I was like, really? I was just joking.
We had that Fox Collection magazine that gets dropped off. I pointed at that. I was like, take a look at the Fox Collection stuff. Maybe you'll like something.
Yeah, so then I bought something off that. Not caring what skill level it said. I was just like, yeah, I like the pattern. I'm gonna do it. And turns out that was not a good pattern to start off with. So then that became a UFO. I even cut up that fabric to make the video of like different starting and finishing method. So then after that I bought a couple more patterns, which includes this one and a Dimensions Gold collection one. And then I had this idea that since one of JP's friends was getting married at the time, maybe I would make something handmade as a gift, as a wedding gift. So then I bought a pattern. Well, I looked for something quirky, found it, and then got it kitted up, and then started making that one. In comparison, that one's not too hard. It's not super big, but it had French knots and what's that, like three-quarter stitches. So I got to learn how to do those. It's technically not finished because obviously the wedding got postponed. So I didn't put the dates on there, but apart from that, everything else is done. So I'm just waiting for them to announce the new dates so I could finish the dates off, wash, and frame.
No pressure.
Well, for now, because recently we met, and I tentatively asked them, oh, when's the wedding postponed to? And then they said, for now, it's November. And it's looking promising. So I'm just gonna wait for them to announce, okay, that's the date. And hopefully I can start planning to finish that one off. So that's technically the first thing I finished, quote unquote. And then it was almost Christmas. So I started making like a little Christmas related pattern. So that one was supposed to be a postcard, which I was very dumb and I didn't notice. So that one was a very small project, but it used metallic threads, and it needed to be beaded as well. So then I guess I unlocked new skills. Oh, I need a thing. Oh, and it actually also needed what is it, long stitch for the leaves. The nettle or something? It's like the Christmas tree leaves. I don't know. So that was fun. It's always fun to experience something you've never tried before. So I got to experience that. And that's the second thing I finished. I think that's the only... Is that the only thing I finished? Oh no! And then I think at the same time I was doing the Twilight Angel for a friend. So that's a Dimensions Gold Petite. So that one required cording and couching and quite a bit of beading, and it also had a charm. So I had to somehow figure out how to do that. That was challenging. I also made a video. Not many people watched it, but that's okay. I think most people are curious about how to do things well rather than how you struggled. That's okay. And now it's getting framed. I actually sent it in to the framers end of Jan. So it's been more than a month, but I still haven't got it, unfortunately. I also sent an inquiry to the framers just to check where it's at. He was like, oh, maybe it's gonna get finished this week, so I'll let you know, but he didn't let me know. And it's the weekend already. So we'll see. So that's the third thing I finished. And then right now, I have got this one I'm working on. I've also got a Aston Martin vintage car one as a present for my father-in-law. Don't think he knows about it. Not that he watches YouTube. So I'm not super worried. I'm also working on the, what is it called? Electron microscopy?
I think it's fluorescent.
Oh, yeah. The neural
Stem cells.
Okay, yeah.
Neural stem cells.
I am so good at speaking today.
Not
So
words
that
you
one.
normally say.
So I have 3 whips. And each of them are very different. So this one obviously is a full coverage one and very big. Normally my setup is like quite close to the theater, so I would do it when JP was playing games on a console. But recently this thing is just recently I really feel like doing this particular one, so I try to do it whenever I have a chance. Maybe I should do the other. I'm gonna go back. And the fluorescent microscopy one, that one's on Black Ada. I normally do it during the day on the weekend because you really need to focus on it. It has so many colors. It has like 49 colors. 49 or 48. Technically, according to the instruction, you're supposed to do it on white Ada, but the pattern was charted to use 6 skeins of black, and I was like, stuff that, I'm just gonna ignore the black part, and I'm gonna stitch it on black so I don't have to stitch the black. But it was, I mean, it's a good decision to make, not that it made stitching the pattern that much easier, but that's okay. So that one I tend to stitch during the day, on the weekend, and watch something at the same time. And the Aston Martin one, it's stitched on 28 count linen, and that's the first time I ever stitch on linen, and I don't like it. I'm not sure whether it's normal for linen to be very uneven, because the weave sometimes are very thick, sometimes they're very thin. That means the crosses have different sizes. And also I've realized the chart actually calls for 25 count or 27 count, but 27 count's a bit harder to find in Australia. And 25 count, I was worried that might look a bit, I don't know, too loose, like that you might see a lot of white. But now it proved that 28 count slightly too busy with 2 strands. It's a little bit, sometimes, yeah, it can be a bit too thick because it has, like, the chart has squat stitches. It's like flatter or thinner than normal stitches. And when that happens, yeah, sometimes it's a bit harder to find the hole. But that's alright. And that's pretty much my stitching history. So I've been stitching for going into 1 year. And I can say I am really trying new things all the time. And that's what I guess made this hobby very interesting to me. A few months ago I was still watching Flosstube videos very frequently. I've noticed a lot of people stitch a lot of different things all the time, and I don't think I can do that. I think 3 right now is pretty good, and they are useful in different situations. For example, I can easily watch something and stitch the Aston Martin one, because that one uses very little colors, I think 12 colors. So and also, like, each color is sort of in chunks, sometimes bigger chunks, sometimes smaller chunks, but chunks nevertheless. So it doesn't require me to pay a lot of attention. And then the only thing is, if I do stitch for a while, I get bored because you don't get to use many colors. And then the microscope, the neuron stem cell one, when the mood calls for it, you can stitch it, because, well, technically there are a lot of color changes, but most of them are green. Unfortunately, different shades of green, 50 shades of green, pretty much.
That's fluorescent. I'm supposed to be for you. Green fluorescent protein, most popular.
Wow, I don't know, I feel like half of the shades are green.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to do other colors sparingly just to spice things up. So I really treasure the times when I could do like bright pinks or oranges or blue. There are some dark blues, but they're almost black, so it's not very interesting. I feel like I should park this right now. I'll park it. Not park it, sorry. End it. And then this one, it's a bit more interesting now, this big one. I was really dreading it before because obviously I started here, and that particular part is the tree with different shades of leaves, I guess, especially through the sunlight. So there are so many confetti stitches. Pretty sure I counted, like, the first couple of 100, like 10 by 10 squares had like 14 colors or something insane, and I was not enjoying that. But now it's okay. It's easier to find more colors. More larger chunks of colors, I guess. So that made the whole stitching process a bit more enjoyable. That's why recently I've been leaning towards doing this project more. Okay, I'm gonna do... Where should I start? Start on here. Yeah, I'll start on here. So with this project, I was supposed to try parking method, but I don't think I did it very successfully. And because, like I said, where I started, which is like here, there were too many confettis. I couldn't do parking because I literally had nowhere to park, and I didn't want to drag one color, 20 stitches. Feel like I was wasting threads. So I pretty much just started doing like one color down a column or this way, or just however I like to do it. And sometimes if I feel like, okay, even though there's a consistent chunk of color, if there's a bit of a jump, I would end the thread and start again, because I'm quite stingy with thread. And with a big project like this, I don't know exactly how much leeway I have in terms of thread usage. And also, because I'm using a stand, and my current setup doesn't easily allow me turning the project, the other way to see the back. It's quite often that I get knots at the back without me knowing, and then later on when I by accident touch it, I found a knot, but there's nothing I could do because other threads are already on top of the other colors, so I waste some threads that way. So I'm really trying to not waste threads anywhere else. JP, you know what kind of patterns I have. What do you think I lean towards buying? Like what sort of projects do you think I tend to like? Because I'm sure everyone has their own thing. Like some people like animals, some people like birds, some people like, I don't know, places of interest.
I think what you're into is making sure that you don't double up on something. You tend to not keep doing the same stuff. Like, you don't have just scenic things, you don't just have animals, you don't just have... I think your first priority is to make sure you've got diversity.
You think so?
I think so, because if you think about putting them up as art, you don't want to look like a crazy cat lady with like kittens everywhere. I mean, if you own lots of cats, I suppose it makes sense, but you're conscious of it, you're thinking about it, even if a little bit. That's what I think. Might not be right, but that's what it appears to me. Everything seems to be considered.
I think I like sceneries more than animals. I don't know. Because I'm thinking about the things I bought or I want to buy. There's more sceneries than anything else.
Well, they themselves can be more interesting. They can have different things in them.
Do I have animals? I don't. I mean, greyhounds,
Goes without saying.
Yeah. I want to find more greyhound patterns. I know there are a lot of. Well, not a lot of, not enough. But there are some patterns, like full coverage patterns, with greyhounds in them. But it just. I don't think it's practical. I know a lot of people have dozens and dozens of patterns, and they always make fun of themselves saying, oh, I can't stop buying blah blah blah, or like I just want to have a collection. I don't care whether I have enough time left to stitch them all. Sometimes I feel that way. I do want to have a lot more than I'm capable of stitching, but I'm also a bit more practical than some of the other people. I like finishing things. I like being realistic. Because in my mind, if you've bought something but for some reason it's just drowned in all the other projects you want to start but cannot, then it's sort of lost its value. Like, a pattern is there to be stitched. If you don't stitch it, what's the point of buying it? Buying something for the sake of owning is, to me, quite childish. Or I feel like I'm gonna piss off a lot of people. But that's okay. If that's what makes you happy, owning things, that's okay. But I feel like things go out of productions all the time. If you own something and you don't end up using it, you sort of took the chance away of other people having the chance of, owning something they really would like to stitch. And that's kind of cruel. And because there's more and more chance for people to get a particular thing, the prices just go up like crazy. And that's really unfair. Whereas this thing that you just would like to own but not stitch, just, I don't know, goes moldy in your collection. That's really sad. Oh, and also recently, well, I don't know whether you could say I bought, but I put in the order for the thread organization system, which is called Annie's Keepers. I saw it in one of Teresa, the little stitcher's video. About how she was converted to the system, even though it appeared to be a bit more expensive than some of the other organization systems. It's actually not that expensive if you think about it. Unfortunately, it's only available in selected countries, i.e. America, being one of them. So the shipping right now is ridiculous. I went to the store, like online store, to check for shipping, and I thought I had enough money in my fund, like hobby fund, but the shipping was $65 and I was like, oh my god, I can't. Considering the whole system, like the comprehensive version, which is enough to have for you to have like 300 skeins, is only $90. I don't want to pay almost the same amount for shipping, even though I understand why it's so expensive still. So I found another website that sells it for slightly cheaper, but the system is a little bit more strange. So you put in your card details and then it won't charge you until the moment it's shipped, and then it will charge you the amount of the price of the products you ordered and also with shipping. So the shipping is unpredictable. So right now I still don't know how much shipping I'll end up paying, and that's a little bit scary. Don't know. What if it, like I chose the cheapest route, but what if it's more expensive than I originally thought? Jeez. And recently I bought a pattern that I've been wanting but not able to get. I found it in Stash and Load. I was very happy, even though technically after my purchase of Annie's Keepers I didn't have enough money, but because it was hard to find in Australia, I decided to get it. And I'll I guess do credit system. Is that how it works, JP? Do you say credit? Yeah.
Well,
so
like for me, sometimes something comes out and it might be time sensitive, especially given the current problems with global shipping. So yeah, credit system. If something comes up, like maybe a good eBay thing or something, then you don't want to just be like, oh well, I don't have enough. So yeah, we have a semi-flexible credit system.
Oh yeah, so if people don't know, for both JP and I, we have $50 per month to spend on our hobbies. So predominantly for me, cross stitch, and then for him, Warhammer. So that goes for example, for cross stitch, like threads, patterns, anything cross stitch related. For him would be like paints, brushes, models, or like things to make models look nice. I don't know. Books.
To play with the models.
Yeah. And I was saving up to get this Annie's Keepers. Oh, jeez. It was such a journey trying to save up. Oh, I also want to talk about how much stitching time I normally get to have. Because I work full time and my shift is at night. I I generally have pretty stable stitching time after work. Like half an hour to an hour, I guess. On a good day, it's an hour. On not a good day, it's half an hour. Very rarely do I not stitch at all. But the time I get before work is very variable. Very variable. Generally, I get up quite late. And then, you know, eat, walk the dog, very important. And sometimes if I think I have a bit more time, do a workout, shower, and then suddenly I run out of time. Or sometimes I'll do a little bit of housework. So on a good day before work, I get nearly an hour. Otherwise, I get nothing. That's like the worst case scenario. If I'm particularly lazy, like I got up really late, yeah, I wouldn't have any time to stitch. And on the weekend, depends. On a very good day, I could get like hours, like 4 hours, 5 hours. I don't think I get more than 5 hours.
Yeah, probably not.
But that doesn't happen super often. So I can't have too many whips because I will be overwhelmed. I think I have to park this one now. Yeah. So ever since I started cross stitching, I joined quite a few Facebook groups, and you get to see what other people are stitching and pretty much how fast they stitch. Because the people that are quite active in the groups tend to post, you know, their whips. Also, if they finish something, they'll post it. Some of them stitch so fast. And I cannot imagine how much time they have. Or maybe they're just fast. Like really efficient. I don't know. There is no way I can stitch so fast. That's okay. I guess for most hobbies you can control how you do what you do. Doesn't have to be the same as other people, isn't it? No, I didn't. I just didn't mark it off. Today's stitch with me is a bit of a trial run because I didn't know how well I could do stitching, keeping track of where I stitch, and talk at the same time. So far, so good.
No disasters?
I don't know. Maybe I'll know later. But I think it's okay. Okay. For me right now, the stitching struggle is to have neat stitches. Especially like if you're going through a hole that already has some other threads in, how does your needle come up in a way that doesn't disturb this thread that was already there? Still haven't figured out how to do that. Sometimes I'm cheeky if I notice there's something poking out, I'll just use the needle to like poke it down.
Whoops. There we go. Roast potatoes.
Roast potatoes. Oh. Roast potatoes. So we're trying something new with the potatoes. Apparently you could use semolina to make it more crispy. And I have a lot of semolina from the time when I was really into baking. And they're expiring soonish. So, gotta use them. So this time with the roast potato, JP looked up a recipe and we're gonna follow the recipe halfway because it's quite complicated. So let's go back to the hole. It's quite complicated. With the channel, especially with the cross-stitch videos, just want to clarify, because I don't like doing a lot of whips, so I can't do a very regular, you know, whips update, because I don't stitch that much to have that much progress on everything. And also I don't buy much because of the $50 per month. And I also want to save up for things I really want rather than, you know, buying for buying's sake. So I can't always make videos of hauls. So that's one of the reasons why I can't have a dedicated stitching channel. I just don't think I have enough content to entertain people with. And also it's very tiring struggling to find things to make just because. So I'm just gonna make videos when I feel like there's enough content to make something. And I do plan to make a series of Stitch with me, talking about different things. Because cross stitch is a hobby, which is like a platform for people to know each other, and then with this platform you can talk about so many things. Life is way too big for just one hobby. So I want to talk about life, talk about, you know, the differences between life in Australia to life in China as a teenager, the education system, what it's like being a pharmacist, relationships, cultural differences, so many things we could talk about. So my plan is every time I do a stitch with me, there's sort of a theme of things we're going to talk about. And at the same time you get to see me crappily stitch. In a very amateur way, I don't know, very slowly. See? Not sure whether I made a mistake or not. It doesn't matter. No, I thought I don't know whether I made a mistake beforehand, but it doesn't really matter. So you could tell I'm not too particular regarding how accurate I am with my pattern, especially with the full coverage. If only, you know, like a couple grids are a bit different than the pattern, you can't really tell. Okay, so that's the red one. Let's do some gold one then, eh? I think it's always hard to decide where you want to start. Here. So one of the reasons why I want to do a stitch with me is then you get to see what sort of method I tend to use when I start and finish. Because in the video I could tell you, oh, I tend to use this, I tend to use this, but it's hard to visualize. Oh gosh. But if I do a stitch with me, I naturally would use the way I like to use. It's hard to pretend. And you get to see. I think a lot of people's floss tubes are literally just full of stitch with me's. That's very smart. Some of them do silent ones. Some of them do... Oh, so some of them do silent ones as in they don't talk. It's pretty much like ASMRs. And you just listen to the thread and the needle going through the holes. To some people that's very relaxing. Some of them do like the chatty stitch with me. Some of them do the full-on silent with no stitching sound but some relaxing music. Because you get the videos done and also you get to stitch. A lot of the time there's the struggle of, I could use the time to make videos or I could use the time to stitch. What should I do? The more videos you make, the less time you have to stitch. And then you have less content to make videos with. So it's a struggle, isn't it?
Catch 22.
Page 22. So for this project, I started the start of November last year. And I wasn't having fun with it, with the project itself, also with the setup. I'm not, like, I wasn't used to stitching on a frame, blah blah blah, and I didn't find a good angle to work the project at. So I would have a lot of back pain, neck pain. But slowly I'm getting used to it, and I'm finding my sweet spot. Not what you're seeing now. Right now I'm stitching in the living room, but on that red chair I could stitch for quite a while and not getting any problems, whereas with this filming setup I'm actually getting a bit sore. But that's okay, it's not going to be like that much longer or super often. I can handle. And for the stitch with me, we actually got a little selfie stand. You know, it's the one with the plastic stand and a ring light, so your phone can sit on it. But we're not using it for selfies, we're using it for filming. And it's not expensive. Who would have thought Kmart's so trendy? Keeping up with all the social media influencers. Providing you with cheap equipment you can use to up the game.
Yeah, it's very considerate.
Oh, I probably forgot to mention, I learned cross stitch myself. My family is not really craft oriented. Like my mum, I don't think she knows how to sew. She knows how to sew on a button or like fix things if, you know, your socks are holy or something. But I don't think she knows how to use a sewing machine or knit or anything. My grandma can knit, but I think she hasn't done it for a long time, so I didn't have that craft influence growing up. And also, I'm just going to briefly talk about like how in China pretty much, I think kids have it worse now. From the start, you just have less time than the Western kids. You would do a lot of like after school extra curriculum, doing lessons. So a lot of people really don't have hobbies, or you don't know how to had to find a hobby. It sounds really sad, but it's how it is. And also, you don't have time to do hobbies. And your parents are like hard working all their life, so they don't know how to enjoy life either. They just know how to work hard. So I didn't really have hobbies until, well, let's not say that. I didn't have many hobbies, or I didn't know what I liked until I met JP. And he introduced me to a lot of things. Pretty much nerdy things, because he's nerdy, but that's okay. I gotta get exposed somehow. So just seeing whether there's anything else. Where am I? I'm down here. That's pretty far, but okay. Can't be asked. So before I met JP, I didn't know PS4, PS whatever, or like Xbox. Never had one. I'm sure some of the boys in China would know, but yeah, I didn't get exposed to those things. But turns out I like playing games. I guess we'll talk a bit more about the whole Chinese school system later, because I do want to talk about it. It is very different from the whole Western system. I think I'm gonna end the video here. I will keep stitching, and then also we'll cook. It's quite late, so we'll cook, and afterwards we'll have to walk the dog. I'll need to bake and get prepared for tomorrow. And we'll talk soon. Hope you enjoyed seeing me stitch and listen to me ramble. I don't think even I remember what I rambled about, but nevertheless, hope you enjoy. Bye! If you watched till the end, you're such a champion. As a little surprise, I'm just showing you that this is what pineapple buns look like, and I spent 3 hours making these. They taste pretty good, if I may say so myself. Feel free to check out other videos, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel to join us on this dabbling journey. See you in the next video. Bye!